Our next guest wasn't just raised on the radio. She grew up inside the speakers, one of the most fearless voices in rock and roll. She's a two-time Grammy winner, an Oscar winner, a songwriter who kicked open windows, broke down walls, and she can make that 12-string sing. Now she's back with a very personal new album called Rise, and she's hitting the road with our good friend Wynonna Judd on the Raised on the Radio tour. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in Melissa Etheridge. Hello, Melissa.
Woo! Thank you. That's quite an introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, like you, I was raised before YouTube, so I was raised on the radio too, Melissa. My dad used to be the old radio DJ that played the good times and great oldies, and he would, play the Beatles and the Beach Boys and the Temptations. So I know you were close to the radio on WHB in Leavenworth, Kansas. Can you take me back to that little girl that used to be listening to the radio?
Johnny Dolan's on WHB. Absolutely. That was back in the late 60s when AM radio, it was called Top 40, and it would really play the top 40 songs of all genres. And it was magnificent. I could hear Tammy Wynette, I could hear Marvin Gaye and Otis Redding, and then I could hear the Rolling Stones and the Led Zeppelin, and there was just all kinds of great music that I loved listening to. It was really, I never had a chance from the very beginning. That was all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah, well, I used to love the radio. It really was like a best friend when I was a kid, and I kind of love how full circle this thing feels with your new album. I know Johnny Cash even came to your town, right? When you were younger, he played at the prison, and now you're releasing a record on Sun Records, just like Johnny. It seems like, is this a coincidence? What's going on? How this thing's coming together?
What's going on? Oh, I love that. I love that Sun Records got back working again. It used to be kind of just a catalog, but now they're getting back and signing artists, and I just love the people that are running it now, and it feels so awesome to have an album with that, that sticker in the middle that is Sun Records, and it's really thrilling because they have Elvis and Johnny Cash. It is just it's really, really cool, and I really like it.
And you can get your hands on the vinyl too. How about going to melissaetheridge.com and get your hands on the 12-inch version of the new album, Rise. When I read the People magazine article, Melissa, I read that this album is coming from a lot of places: desire, passion, heartbreak, the love, the loss, the wisdom, and now the healing. And I really hear the range on the album when I listen to that song, Call You. It comes from the loss of your son, Beckett. And then the song More Love comes from your daughter, Bailey's wedding. When you're writing a song like Call You, that's got to be pretty heavy.
Yeah, I knew I had to write it. I knew I had to get it out of the way, actually, that this was an emotional trauma event that happened. Losing a child it's so unfathomable that there's not even a word for it in our language. You have widows or orphans, but what's a parent that lost a child? It's so not supposed to happen, and so it's this grief that I knew I would have to go through it so that I could write the rest of the music and songs and the rest of the life that is in me. And by doing so, I really healed so much in me by knowing that I'm going to sing these words, Jesus, help me through this, teach me how to calm the waters, because we can drown in guilt and shame when it comes to sons and daughters. I know that not only is that going to heal me, but it might possibly help and heal other people that are going through this also.
And I know a person that's a very healing soul. You're out on the road with Wynonna Judd. I've had her on this show a few times, and I got to be honest, I thought we were going to get married on the last call because she has this way of making you can feel the pain coming from Wynonna, but at the same time, so much love, and what a soul she is. How did you guys get connected, and do you get those same feelings when you're hanging around Wynonna?
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah, we met years ago, some Grammy Awards or something somewhere, and have seen each other, worked together a couple times in the turn of the century, sort of around there. And this is the first time we've ever toured together. And with women in the music industry, you really maintain a connection, whether it's after 10 years or whatever, you still really maintain a connection. And her and I have, and I just saw her recently and started hanging out with her again. And then the tour starts the end of this month, and she is just that. She is filled with love. She has had her own and continues to have her own battles with sadness and loss and stressful issues. And I think we're going to be holding each other up this tour. I think it's really going to do both of us a lot of good.
We got Melissa Etheridge on here. The new album is called Rise, and this summer she's teaming up with her friend Wynonna Judd for the Raised on the Radio tour. You can find the dates and the tickets. Go to Melissa's website at melissaetheridge.com. The other reason why I want to see this show is I want to see you play that 12-string. And I read that old Don Raymond, your guitar teacher, used to tell you, I don't care what notes you play, just never go out of time. Are you still playing on a metronome? How do you keep that 12-string on time?
I have an internal metronome. Thank you to Don Raymond of Leavenworth, Kansas. He would tap his foot so loud. He scared me. He was very stern. No, he had been through a horrible accident where he lost his fingers on his guitar playing hand. So he was a cranky teacher. He was going through things himself, and I used to show up, and it would make me practice. I'm like, I gotta be a certain level for this guy, and he just really guided me into how to be a great player. And boy, every drummer I've ever worked with, the first comment is, you have great rhythm. And I'm like, thank you, Don Raymond.
And did you learn all the scales, Melissa? Or did music just come naturally to you and you learned by ear? I'm trying to learn the guitar. I've been playing for years and I still am learning new things every day. But some people just upset me when they pick it up and they're like, oh, I just learned by ear. It just came to me. I don't see how people do that. Was that you?
Well, because I formally learned with Don Raymond, I was able to have the tools that when I started then playing by ear, which is just hearing stuff and then being able to play it, I had the training before that so that I could do that well. And I still practice. Like you said, there's always stuff to learn. I'm still learning different scales and stuff and trying to push my guitar playing. And it actually makes these years and years of performing and reaching people, that it gives me something to really reach for, is to be a better guitar player.
Who's the greatest guitar player you ever witnessed with your own two eyes in action? Do you remember a story?
Ooh, I saw Peter Frampton in Kansas City right at the beginning of the Do You Feel Like I Feel, right at the beginning of that whole Frampton Comes Alive thing. And I went by myself. I don't know. And I was in high school. Wow, I was probably like in ninth grade maybe. And he just blew me away, his guitar playing. And that's when I really focused on it. I said, I want to be a singer and a guitar player like Peter Frampton. I really focused in on that. Now, as I was leaving the concert, I realized I couldn't hear anything. It was so loud. It was unbelievably loud that my ears closed up. But it was quite an experience.
Did you ever play with one of those talk boxes like he does? I've always thought those things are interesting. You ever try one?
Yeah, I did that a bit in the 90s and discovered that they fixed it since, but the ones they used back then used to loosen up the fillings in your teeth. So I had to stop. I know, because it's like, you're sonically, you're putting all that sound in your mouth. And so it's better now. But yeah, I did do that for a while because, like I told you, he was a big influence.
We're talking with Melissa Etheridge. She's a true trailblazer in many ways. In 1993, you chose to live your life openly and publicly, share that part of your truth. And I think some people in today's YouTube world, after the radio days, they don't realize what a different world it was back then. This could have been a career risk for you. What was that time like, and did you feel risk at that time?
Yeah, the risk was very palatable, but the reward, the reward of being myself, the thoughts, those nights of thinking, well, if I come out and people don't like me, then they really never liked me. They really never liked my music, and if it didn't make sense to me. I thought that if people love the music, then they would love the music. And I was willing to take that chance because I needed the health. I needed to be myself. It was just too hard to not be myself. So, and I did get quite a reward. I tell people it did not hurt my career at all. I came out, I was selling about 1 million records each record. And then after I came out, I sold 7-8 million records. So it was just fine.
Do you remember the first fan that came up to you and said something like, hey, because you were honest, I felt the courage? I'm sure you heard that a lot back then, right?
Yes. And you know what? I still hear that. And it really is so rewarding. I still hear people say, boy, back in high school, you were the only other one I knew that was gay. And it means a lot, and I'm very proud of that.
When I was a traveling DJ a few years back, I used to have this little road ritual. If I was in a new city, I loved going to the mall. I felt like you could get the pulse of a town just by going to the local mall. Also, if I was in Austin, I'd go to the University of Texas. If I was in Columbus, I'd go check out Ohio State. Do you have like a little road ritual or one that you did back in the day when you get to a city? What do you like to do on tour?
Well, for the last about 20 years that I've been with my wife now, one of the things that we do is when we roll into a town, she looks up restaurants that are owned and have female chefs because we really like to experience that in the cities. And we have found and met some really amazing female chefs because we're quite foodies. And so that's our real joy now than what we do.
And Melissa, do you collect anything? Because we've had Kevin Costner on. He said he collected cars from his movies. Tom Hanks collects typewriters. Alan Alda, of all things, he said he collects umbrellas. Do you have anything that you like to collect, Melissa?
Wow. I used to collect things, and then I had children, and that just stopped.
And then they break things. They start to break things.
Absolutely. And I used to collect these, they were called match strikers from, the 1800s to the early 1900s before lighters were a thing. There's these beautiful glass ashtrays that have these ridged things on like that you hold the matches in, and they were just beautiful, and I had quite a collection of that. I used to collect old lunch boxes. I have a great collection. I have the Bionic Woman. I have some old football ones, and I used to, like I said, I like to collect things, but now I just collect the memories of my children.
And then finally, Melissa, I know that you've been through so much. You've had so much courage. You've been a survivor. You've been a Grammy winner, the highs and the lows. To people out there now that are trying to survive and life is kicking them in the teeth, what kind of advice do you have for them that, you're not the only one?
That's really what this album is about. This album is called Rise, the new album, and it is about, you're going to fall to the earth sometimes. You're going to taste the dirt sometimes. Then you're going to rise. You're going to. I've lived long enough to know that you go down into these depths, but you can always, through your thoughts and through your visions, through your hearts, through your desires, you can always rise up and be on another adventure again. And that's what life is about. Just let it roll. Keep moving with it.
Well, we'll be seeing you on tour with Wynonna this summer and even on into the fall. Keep surviving, keep thriving. Go stream and buy the new album, Rise, and go to melissaetheridge.com and get your tickets for the Raised On Radio Tour. Melissa, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you this summer.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.